Navigating through the energies of New Earth is not an easy process and can become extremely overwhelming at times. As we all ascend into higher frequencies, we're all being guided to embrace our own unique divine pathway, a pathway created in the vibration of love. Join Vibe Nation radio host, international psychic medium Carrie Turcotte as she guides her listeners to rediscover themselves by accessing the keys of knowledge that already exist within. Each week's show is divinely orchestrated to intertwine with the universal energies, allowing the listeners to go deeper within and understand the message being shared even greater. When you live in the frequency of love, there is no competition, so Carrie will be joined regularly by fellow soul family members who will bring forth wisdom and knowledge she knows should be shared on a global level. At the end of each show, Carrie will tap into the energies of the listeners to see what message Spirit wants to share with all those listening in for the upcoming week. If you really want to get to know who you truly are, come and join us now on Vibe Nation Radio, here on the IOM Radio Network.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to Vibe Nation Radio on this beautiful Monday afternoon. It is absolutely gorgeous here in the Oakville area, which is Toronto in Canada. It's probably the closest major city that I'm near. So welcome, and today on Vibe Nation Radio, I have no guests. I'm actually going to be doing this solo. And it's because Spirit has asked me to step forward and to talk to those that listen to Vibe Nation Radio about truly balancing the energies within themselves right now. Those that have been following the Vibe Report know this is something I've been channeling for a long, long time, about finding yourself, finding who you are. And if you are a twin, this information is so important to understand because taking back your power and stepping into your power is so important at this time right now in our journey. We are going through a major eclipse season. We are in a Mercury retrograde. This week in the Vibe Report, I was channeling that it's going to be the light versus the dark, or the love versus the fear. So I thought, what a perfect week to come in and really talk to people about how to balance their energies for who they are so they can get back on their path, their soul journey, to be able to move forward in power and strength. So for those that you are that familiar with myself, I'm not just a medium, I'm not just a twin. I'm also an authorized associate with the Insight Learning Foundation, and I've been teaching others about who they truly are for the past 28 years. Now, when it comes to color personalities, I've taught many different programs that are out there. There's lots of them out there. But what brought me to Insight 10 years ago and why I've stayed with Insight is because of the knowledge and the stats, the information they've put behind it. And Insight actually is the only personality trait in the world that has a patent to it. So what does that mean? It means that of all the personality traits in the world, Insight is the only personality trait you could actually bring into a court of law and use in your case. You can't even do that with Myers-Briggs, my friends. So, because in Myers-Briggs, you're either an introvert or an extrovert. Well, in actual fact, we're both. We're both introvert and extrovert, depending on the situation that we're in and how we deal with it. So this is why I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit more about who you are. And I'm just going to go briefly through the Discovering Your Personality Spectrum, which is understanding your values of who you are. So what makes you tick and what ticks you off? Because in the bigger picture of the colors, the way I see this as I teach my students all over the world, that this is truly the law of allowing. Now, the law of allowing is one of the most difficult laws, universal laws, that anyone can really truly accept and understand, because you need to figure out who you are first to be able to step into the power of the law of allowing, which also works with the law of attraction. Because when you start to realize what your personality strengths are, you will find that birds of a feather flock together, but also opposites attract, especially if you're a twin. So I will walk you guys through this very slowly, so get yourselves a piece of paper and a pen. Again, I'm not doing the testing because this is a 3-hour seminar that I do or a workshop when I actually do it in the full. I'm just going to go through during this radio show to give you bits and pieces to help you understand this and to let you know also that next month I will be starting online courses. I have been announced as one of the OMTimes experts, and I'm so grateful for that. And I'm so grateful for Leanne and Chris for all that they do, and for the OMTimes family that they've been able to pull together. And this is something that I know that I can bring to the table to help other people across this planet, to help them understand who they are, and to put the energy into what makes them tick, not what ticks them off. And most people will focus on what they don't like instead of what they do like, because that's the way we've been programmed. When you understand insight and you understand deeper of who you truly are, you'll start to realize that you are all colors that I'm about to talk about. It's like a unique fingerprint that you have, but this is going to be a soul print. This is a soul print of who you truly are at the deep of your soul. And if you are a twin, you need to know that where your strengths lie is going to be where your twin's weaknesses lie, and vice versa, because you are one. So this will help people understand as we're going through this how to deal with the flip that we're dealing with the energies between the twins right now. When it goes to masculine and feminine and it goes back and forth, we're actually being guided by spirit to help one another with the strengths. So let's just get into this. So there are 4 main colors that we use in the Insight Discovering Your Personality Spectrum testing. The first one is blue. People who are blue are the loving, caring, sensitive people. They need to feel unique. They look for symbolism. They value close relationships. You know, they need opportunity to be creative. They're nurturing people. They love plants. They love animals. They look beyond the surface. They share emotions. They make decisions based on feelings. They need harmony. They're drawn to nurturing careers. They get involved in causes, and they like to bring unity to society. So chances are, if you're listening to my show, you're probably very high blue. This is an indication to me that you're extremely spiritual. Okay, so when I go out and I talk to a group of people, if I'm going to talk to a bunch of IT people, the chances of them being a lot of blues is very few and far between. So as this audience, those that are listening to the spiritual show, I would guarantee you that blue would be either your first or secondary color. Okay, now when I say first or secondary, it doesn't matter if it's your first, the most powerful traits within you, or if it's the secondary, because you will speak blue language if you are first or secondary blue. The third color and the fourth color are where you start to lack and where things might start to tick you off. And we'll get into that later on in the show. So blues, loving, caring, sensitive, don't like conflict. These are the people that will go together and they'll sing Kumbaya and give hugs and kisses to one another. They just want to feel good. They want to feel the love. These are the blues, okay? Then you have the golds. The golds are very dutiful. They're stable. They need to be useful. They want to be self-sufficient. They value order and organization. They need to be punctual. They live by schedules. They make and keep commitments. They prepare for the future. They are responsible and dedicated, and they like to bring stability to society. Now, again, everyone has every color in them. But if you are gold, it's like money in the bank, got to be on time. This belongs here, doesn't belong there. Where's my checklist? I've got to make sure I'm doing this right. They plan in the future, but they need to know everything right away. This is the gold attribute within the soul. Then there's the green. Now, green is the analytical need to know why. They need to understand the world. They require intelligence that is freedom. They are slow to make decisions. They believe work is play. They analyze and rearrange systems. They like to focus on the future, and they like to bring innovation to society. They're all about knowledge. So if the green personality, I need to know why. And I have to say that when I work with green, people or people who have very high green in them, these are the ones right now that are having difficulties embracing the unknown, living in the moment, because their need to know why, their need to know how to survive, they need to know what's happening has to be rewired within the psyche. Okay, so that's the green. And then there's the orange. The orange is the wild and crazy, woo-hoo-hoo, let's have a good time, very adventurous, they're free, they're spontaneous, they're risk takers. They're optimistic. They are drawn to tools. Oranges are the type of people that they might have 50 books in their house, but they've never read one cover to cover. They've only read pieces of it. They've only gone in and got the information that they needed, and then they let the rest go. And they also are, they like to bring excitement to society. And oranges are very good with dealing with chaos. So when you think about who you are as a person, okay, again, we're not doing the testing here, my friends. We just need you to kind of think. Are you very analytical, need to know why all the time? Or are you very logical and you need your checklist and you want to make sure that everything has a place and everything is on time? Or are you very analytical, need to know why type of thing, that you like to be introverted by yourself to figure things out? Or are you wild and crazy, give me 2 minutes to pack. I don't need a checklist. Let's just do this. Now, the reason why I'm just giving you guys the basics of this, because I kind of want you to understand where you fall on the spectrum. Myself, I'm very blue, and my secondary color is orange, and then goes green, and then goes gold. Now, when I try to balance myself out, when people give me tasks that are gold, which is like getting together and writing, I might have to write some type of paperwork and I have to put graphs together and I got to do this and this. Yes, I can do that, but it stresses me out because I don't have the gold energy, which is lining things up, and the analytical side to get this all together. Carries more orange and blue. It's like, can't we just talk about this? Do I actually have to do a report and give you all of this? So over the years, as I've learned this, I've also had to learn how to bring my other colors up so that when I'm in specific situations in my lifetime, I run my own business. Yes, the gold does have to come out, but the gold things still stress me out. Now, I didn't understand why I couldn't get my gold high for 20-something years. Like 25 years later, here I'm figuring out, why can't I get my gold up? Why can't I get my gold up? Well, it was because I am a twin, and guess what? My twin has all the gold. So when we get back from commercial break, we'll talk a little bit further about this and how this will help you understand why you may be going through and feeling the things that you're feeling right now. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Your conscious lifestyle on steroids. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. As difficult as it is to believe, there are places in Africa where human traffickers sell albino children and their body parts for use in magic rituals. Humanity Healing International is actively working in Uganda to change this paradigm. The Albino Rescue Project finds albino children who are at risk and places them in safe schools and environments where they can learn and grow free from fear. To learn more or to sponsor a child, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Have you been searching for a perspective beyond the mainstream? Check it out. Join your hosts Cielito Pascual and Diana Gold Holland on Share International Radio for thought-provoking views behind the news, Sundays at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio. You can also find us at shareontheairradio.org. This may be the message of hope you've been waiting for.
There is no death, only a change of worlds. Chief Seattle. Deborah Livingston is an award-winning intuitive psychic medium whose international services include mediumship, spiritual assessment, animal communication, and spiritual mentoring. She is a published author and a trained shaman. Deborah provides evidential messages from spirit and departed loved ones. Learn more at deblivemedium.com. That's DEBLIV medium.com.
How to be a great dad in 15 seconds. Bike ride, go fish, walk in the park, phone call, milkshake, play catch, picnic, fly a kite, tell jokes, laugh, talk, read a story, tell a story, bumper car, swing set, bowling, pillow fight, cut loose, stay tight. Whew. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Vibe Nation Radio, where today I am personally talking about balancing your energies with insight. And before we went to the commercial break, I was just giving everyone, just the basic information about every color. So let's just go through this a little deeper so you can understand kind of where you are. Like, we want to understand your first two colors, so your primary color, your secondary color. And do know that once you do the testing with insight, which again will be offered next month on OMTimes, export platform, where I will be teaching this online, that when you figure out who you are, you want to be able to balance out the other colors, because one color will be primary, and that primary color, when you do the testing with insight, will always be your primary color. What we're trying to do is that if you're extreme in that primary color and you're way, way high, like you're way too high, we have to be able to lower that down to be able to allow you, because usually the opposite color to blue is green, that if you're really, really high blue and you are a twin, guess what? Your beloved will probably be very green. So this is where we need to start to look into deeper to who we are, because we want to be able to balance this out. Because if you're this loving, caring person, and I'm not saying if you're a twin, obviously they have blue in them, but if it's not their primary color and they analyze everything to death, they're not living in the moment. They have difficulties embracing the moment, and we're spiritual, and we're here to help Gaia shift in vibration, so we must embrace the unknown and live in the moment. So you might find during the flips sometimes that all of a sudden you don't feel like you're yourself anymore. You're like, whoa, what happened? Like, why am I being like this? It's because the soul is saying, you know what, the other side of the soul needs a little bit of help right now. And you understand this, and you've been able to work with these vibrations, and you've been able to shift the vibrations so that the boys cannot get the best of you. So now we have our beloved's energy, and we're trying to raise their vibrations as well, so that when the energy goes back, their psyche, or their boys, cannot get the best of them the way they used to, because you've helped raise the vibrations between the two of you. Remember, you cannot crawl into your beloved's head and change the psyche. That's completely up to them to do. Now, if you're not a twin, again, just be grateful that you have, when you get your color spectrum together, it's going to allow you what makes you stronger and what makes you weaker, what ticks you off, makes you tick. So let's just talk about some words that people like to describe themselves if they're the primary color of green. Greens are very curious. They're very logical. They are independent. They're intelligent. Okay? They like to be rational. They are technical. Okay? These are the gotta know why type of people. And again, we all have every color in us. It just depends where it falls on the spectrum. Okay? So then the oranges are the active. They're the adventurous. They're the bold, open-minded, charismatic. They're daring, they're flexible, they can be very charming, but they're also competitive, okay? And then there's the golds. They're reliable, they're punctual, they're responsible, they're organized, they're loyal, they're sensible, they're solid, they're stable, they're ordinary, meaning that they like to be orderly. Sorry is what I meant to say, not ordinary, orderly. And then we have the blues, who are the warm, sensitive, romantic, patient, devoted, caring, peaceful, emotional side. So find out where you are on this spectrum, okay? For myself, I'm a blue, then I'm an orange, then I'm a green, and then I'm a gold. So when I get introduced to gold attributes, again, I can kind of stress out a little bit because that is not my strength. However, during the flip of the energies, when I get the gold energy of my twin, I'm noticing that the gold is truly coming out in me, and it's helping me because it's almost like he's raising the vibrations of when the flip is taking place to push the lower gold attributes in me into a higher vibration, okay, so that I have more gold attributes to be able to work with as a twin. I hope this is making sense to all of you guys. So let's think of this. So most twins, I would have to say, either primary blue or secondary blue. Your blue would have to be first or secondary color, okay? And then think about the secondary color. So if you're a blue, you know maybe you're a blue-orange like me, and your beloved is green-gold, okay? What's going to take place here is that you as a blue might need to hear I love you every single day, 12 times a day. But the green is like, wait a second here. I told you I loved you last week. Why do I need to tell you every single day that I love you when I know in the deep of my soul I do love you? I don't see the logic behind telling you something 12 times a day. That's just the way a green thinks. So the blue needs to stop and think about this, saying, you know what, it's not that the green doesn't have any emotion. Of course they do, because they also have blue in them. They just don't, you know, their psyche doesn't wire the same way as a blue brain wires. So the blue needs to hear it, the green does not. So you need to learn to accept each other for who you are. So if you're the blue, don't expect your green to tell you, I love you 12 times a day, because chances are it's not going to happen unless that green has very high blue in them as well. Okay, so for example, my gold is the lowest of all the colors for me. And when it comes to the orange, it's a lot brighter than the gold. And orange is adventure, is wild. Let's go out, have some good times. But when it comes to adventure, you would never catch this lady jumping out of a plane and parachuting. Why? Because my gold, that's really low, becomes the primary color and says, you're not in control. Don't even go there. You cannot control the outcome of this. So my gold actually flips into the most as the power, and my blue, orange, and green slide down. Okay, so that's why I'm saying it's important you understand this, that you flip within colors all the time, depending on the situation, depending on your age. Like my orange, the wild and crazy, came in full effect when I used to own an event management company. I did that for 20 years. I organized special events, very large special events, but I needed to be orange because I had to deal with chaos all the time. I had to go, 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 go. But now that I'm out of the event planning industry and I'm now 100% into the spiritual community, my orange is lowered and my blue has gone even higher. Okay, so it does shift depending, but my blue has always been my primary. It will not change. Okay, the other colors will, and it's almost like you want to try and balance yourself out so that when you're working with other people, when you walk into someone's office, you can tell by the way they've done their office. If they've got pictures of the family and they've got plants, chances are they're blue and orange. If they have, you might see that they have a piling system instead of a filing system. And if that's the case, they're either orange or green. They're not blue or gold. Okay, so these are just little things that as you understand this and how people work on a soul, like again, this is like your soul print of who you are, that when I walk into an office, if I know I'm going to meet with a gold for any type of meeting, a reading, whatever, I need to ensure that I'm on time. And if I am not on time, I am going to call the gold to let them know I am going to be late. Because chances are the gold is sitting there waiting for you, and if you're late, they don't think you respect their time. Okay, so this is something as you start to go through this, you'll start to understand this a little bit more. Now, Spirit is telling me right now to kind of let you guys know this, that when it comes to the population of this planet, 38% of people on this planet, primary color is gold. 38% of this planet is also orange. Okay, so that's the bulk of this planet. Then we have 12% of this planet that thinks in blue vibrations, and then we think of the green, and there's only 10% of the population that have green. Now think about that. I know with the people that I'm working with, the bulk of them are blue-greens. So that means only 22% of the population understand these people. Okay, and I'm the opposite colors. Like, again, I'm orange and blue. But I still understand this because I've learned this. So when you go out in public and you're speaking, and if you're a green-blue, chances are you're not going to have a lot of people understanding you, or you won't understand them because they think in a different way. They think in orange-gold which is what the bulk of society does. So again, when you start to understand this, start to make you realize that if you are a twin and you are a blue-green, again, how unique are you? You have the $1 million brain that you have to rewire as a green, where Carrie's over here with, the $500 special as orange-blue. It's kind of like, okay, let's just figure a way. I'll feel my way to this, but I don't need to know A, B, C, D all the way to Z. People who are green gold do. Okay, so it takes them a little bit longer to embrace the moment than those that are orange or blues. So, again, I hope this is making sense to you guys at the other end, because this is extremely important, especially if you are a twin, because the energies are flipping back and forth. And a lot of the things that are happening with people is they think they've been doing their soul work, I'm doing good, everything's great, and all of a sudden there's an energy flip. And all of a sudden their head is spinning. They're like, oh, my God, I thought I dealt with this. Why am I dealing with this? Why am I going chaotic? It's because the flip of energy has taken place where the soul is like, I need to balance out here. And I need your help doing this because you are more powerful, and this is where the strengths lie within you. So the twin needs your help because, again, your strengths are their weaknesses. So when the energy flip comes, use this to your advantage, my friends, to balance the energy out. Explain to them. Like I'll use myself as an example. I always do that. Again, I've already explained to you that I'm blue-orange, then green, then gold. Now, with the gold being my lowest, I know that the gold is obviously the highest within my twin. So when there's an energy flip going, I want to embrace those gold energy because this is something I need to help shift my vibrations within me as well. And I can tell when the flips are taking place. So social media is perfect, okay? Because you might notice that you're following somebody who's a twin, and all of a sudden they're not really talking the way they normally talk. That's an indication that that person who is speaking in social media who's a twin, they are in a flip, and they are now making themselves more powerful by using that energy that once belonged to the twin that's now in them. So again, you're always one, but it's the flipping of the energies. It's like you're in a washing machine, not even a washing, more like you're in a dryer. It's flipping you around, and it's allowing you to become more pure at a soul level so that you understand this. So it's almost like Spirit is saying that this is so important when it comes to the sacred journey back to one or any divine soul journey. It doesn't matter if you're a twin or not. Understanding this is imperative because when you're standing there in front of someone else and they're talking their own language, which is not your language, you're not going to allow them to push your buttons. You're not going to allow them to change your perspective because, again, they are not wired the same way you are. So you need to take in their perspective, embrace it for what it is, knowing that it's being shown to you for a reason. So, again, use the mirror effects when you see this with people. It truly will help you. So we'll be back after this commercial break, and we'll go a little deeper into this when I get back. Enjoy.
Free your mind with OMTimes Radio, IOM FM. Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
Eros Evolution is where sexuality and spirituality meets. Join me, clinical sexologist Martha Tara Lee, on Eros Evolution on Thursdays, 4 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
When Dad needed help getting around, I became his driver. Soon enough, it was up to me to be his housekeeper and financial manager, too. When he moved in, I became his cook and even his nurse. But no matter what roles I play, I know I'm still his daughter.
We understand the roles you play. So to help, we created aarp.org/caregiving, where you can connect with experts and other caregivers. Visit aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hello, and welcome back to Vibe Nation Radio, where today I've been talking about insight and how to balance your energies with insight. And I've already given an overview of the basics of what each color is. So let's just go a little bit deeper into certain areas that might help you in your day-to-day life right now. And one of the biggest things is, how do we communicate with one another? So do know that if you are blue, the blue will communicate free of conflict. They want to be open, and they're very sincere. Okay? And then you've got the orange that has to be lively, bold, and straightforward. And then you have the green, which is well thought out, logical, and full of fact. And then you have the gold that is proper, controlled, and on topic. Okay, so think about this. So here I am. I'm going to use myself as an example that my blue is, when it comes to the twin, my beloved and I, the blue is very balanced. So I'm going to kind of throw the blue out between the two of us. It's kind of like the orange and the gold is where we need to balance out, because the blue and the green is really balanced between the two of us. But so say I'm speaking in an orange flavor. Well, it's lively and it's bold and it's straightforward. And here's Carrie with this crazy lingo for the vibe report. And, it's just more fun. But my beloved is gold. So he needs it to be proper, controlled, and on topic. So do you see, my friends, where this may become an issue when it comes to energy between the twins? Okay, so here I am being wild and crazy, woo-hoo-hoo-hoo, just throwing it out there. And my beloved's like, okay, no, it's got to be like this, and checklist. Let's make sure this is all done. Everything's in a row, A, B, to Z, all the way to Z. Okay, that's taken care of. Where people who know me, there's a lot of times I'll throw stuff out and I'll forget about something to add to it, and I'll do it later. My twin would never do that. So when the energies are flipping back and forth, I want to embrace what it is that he has the most vibrant energy on, and know that he's going to make me speak more of, controlled, proper, and on topic, than going all over the place, which I can do as an orange very easily. Those that know me know this. So see how this can be very different. Like, let's use love as an example, okay? So for in love, when it comes to the blues, they want to have kindness, they want devotion, and they want to be able to have good communications with their love. Now, again, this is for anybody. It's not just twins. When you are orange, they want lots of energy, they want excitement, and they want adventure in love. When it comes to the green wants to know they want to know knowledge, they want to know reason, and they want composure. And the gold wants security, order, and consistency. So can you see how this might become an issue when you're communicating with your twin, especially? It doesn't matter if it's in 3D or 5D. If you are, for example, if I'm speaking to my beloved in an orange way, which is energy, excitement, and adventure about love, and how is he taking it in through security, order, and consistency? Can you see how we could be on two different planes here, my friends, when it comes to speaking in love? And I need to be able to flip it around. So when I speak to my beloved in 5D, I'm going to be talking in security, order, and consistency to ensure that when, that's how he speaks, that's how he vibes. So I want to ensure that I speak his language so that he will understand at a soul level. Again, using the colors is to help you balance the soul connection between the two of you, because the two of you are physically one. So right now you've got the one twin, then you've got the other twin. Both of you will have each other's strengths and weaknesses. And now we're creating the third flame, which is the 5D flame. So in order to be able to do this, we need to balance the energies out physically here in 3D reality. So that's why Spirit has been saying to me for the Vibe Report followers that this right now is so important for us to go in and focus on ourselves and figure out, who am I? Who am I when I'm standing naked in the shower? Okay, this is the book that Nathan Bryce, who is one of the founders and the owners of the Insight Learning Foundation, this is the name of his book, Standing Naked in the Shower. And I love that. That was one of the first things that really connected to me, because I've taught other personality traits. And I would get people to go through the testing, and then they would say, oh, yeah, I'm a gold. And I'd be looking at them going, you're not a gold. You're a gold wannabe. okay, is because the testing wasn't accurate enough. It was kind of like people filled it out as how they felt they wanted to be more of, not of who they are. And a lot of times people right now in this life are trying to live a life to be who they are not instead of focusing on who they truly are and using their strengths to move forward. So if your goal is very low, like mine is, you know, like to turn around and say that, yes, I'm going to be on time for everything. I'm going to have everything lined up. I'm going to have my checklist in place. I'm going to do this, and this like a gold would. Again, I'm lying to myself, my friends, by saying that, because that's not who I am. Okay, so I have to intertwine the gold into me. So when Carrie's kind of like, oh my gosh, okay, I live in the moment, but I do need to take care of, like I have a retreat coming up at the end of the month. And at the end, you know, I haven't really gotten into the nitty gritty and all this other stuff of what needs to be done because of the orange in me. I can work more like a chaos monkey, and I can actually multitask a lot easier than my twin who's got a lot of gold. Now, I'm not saying he can't do this. I'm just saying it's very easy for me to do that. If I have to stay up and pull an all-nighter to get something done that's still not done but needs to be done the next day, I can do it, and I'm not going to sweat it. If I turned around and said to my beloved, okay, we have an event that we have to next week and everything has to be done now, he would lose his mind. It's just because that's not the way the psyche works. And this is the whole purpose of me talking to you about this, that when it comes to rewiring where we are right now in New Earth, we have to embrace who we truly are. So if you're standing naked in the shower and you're looking through your kaleidoscope of who you truly are you allowing other people's perspectives to change who you are because they speak a different language? Now, be honest with yourself, okay? Because most of you could probably say, yes, I've done that, because I can say it too, and I even teach this, okay? So, again, it's called We Are a Soul Living a Human Experience. So, of course we're going to go through this because we're human. We got a psyche. We got the boys we got to deal with. And if you allow other people's perspective to change who you are, you truly are not going to be aligned with who you are. And again, I work with twins and I work with people all over the world. And, you know, this is so important for people to understand because, again, I'm not going to get on here and talk about, you know, like this is a blue audience I'm speaking to. So I'm going to talk in a blue language, but that's who I am. So I'm not really working at it. But if all of a sudden I was, like I said, I was going to be throwing a bunch of IT people. So if anybody listening, if you're in IT, chances are you're probably a blue gold. Okay, so I can shift my language to speak your language, but it might be difficult for me to do. So when you're understanding and learning this, once you get in the role of things, it really becomes second nature. It's kind of like if you know somebody is a green or a gold and you don't know anything about them, do not send them smiley faces or laugh out loud or any like jokes and stuff like that, because that's not really, they're more professional business-like. And I'm not saying oranges and blues are not, but you can throw X-hug, you can throw a smiley face in, you know, you can do whatever you want with the blues and the oranges will probably just laugh and say that's kind of cool. And the oranges is like, oh my gosh, look, they sent me a smiley face. It feels so good, you know, because they're all about the feelings. Where the green is like, what? Why are you wasting my time? Don't even do that. And the gold's like, this is not business-like. So, you know, as you go through this, like the way somebody dresses, you can tell what is their primary color. And this allows you so that when you start to really get to know people, you can instantly walk into a room and say, okay, this person's green, this person's gold, this person's blue, whatever. And you can start to speak their language when you're in front of them because you can tell by the way they look, by the words that they're using, who they truly are. So that's why when you meet somebody, sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, I love that person. I feel so soully connected to them. Well, chances are you probably do have a soul connection, but you're also speaking probably the same language. So I've noticed it a lot. Like you'll go to somebody really blue. If I walk into a room and it's full of golds, I might be overwhelmed with their energy because sometimes a gold will say something to a blue that will offend a blue, but the gold doesn't understand why they offended the blue because they're not that, emotional. And again, it depends on the secondary color. I'm trying to work with primary colors here with you guys so you kind of understand this a little bit more. You know, it's kind of like, I don't know why Spirit's talking about this right now, but one big scenario is like when you're living at home with people. It's kind of like when you start to understand this, you can start to understand why your significant other does this, or why this kid does this, or why your mother does this, or why your sister does this. It allows you, like I tell people, once you start to learn this, and I teach this with them, I want them to do a case study on their family. It's the easiest way to figure this out, to say, oh my gosh, now I know why my mother's been pushing my buttons all my life, because I'm an orange and she's a gold. Okay, I got it. And then you have to learn to respect one another, to know that they're not going to change either. The only person that can change is themselves. You can't change other people. Okay, but when it comes to the fact that if you know that mom is gold, why would you always talk orange to her knowing you're going to push her buttons? Now that you know this, step back a bit and speak the way mom likes to speak, and the next thing you know, your relationship will become that much more powerful, because now you're accepting her for who she is, and she doesn't understand why, but you understand why. It's because you've shifted your vibrations. When you speak their language, you're raising vibrations for the two of you. And this is what you're doing when you have a twin, when you're flipping back and forth with energies. It's to help you become more powerful so you can light up the third flame. The third flame cannot light up in 3D, my friends. It has to light up in 5D. And right now, the upside down, we've got one twin in 3D, we got one twin in 5D, and that's because we need to be there for Gaia. Remember the mission if you're a twin. This is about the mission. So one has to be in 3D and one is in 5D to be able to help transmute. Okay, but you have to understand that if they're going to 3D and they're very gold or orange, it might be a little bit more difficult for you to shift those vibrations, or when you get the flip, it may be a lot more difficult for you to do because they're also plugged into the matrix and they're speaking what everybody else, again, when you think about that, that's the bulk, that's 78% of the planet is speaking gold and orange. So if you're a twin and you are green blue, it's like you're speaking a foreign language to the orange and golds. Okay, so again, this is just allowing you too that if you know you go out there in 3D world and you're not around anybody who's a blue vibration, meaning first or secondary color, don't even try and shift them, because again, they have to do this themselves, my friends. If you leave work every day and someone doesn't say good work or great going, or you might be doing this but no one says it to you, don't get offended that someone didn't say good morning, how was last night, because chances are they're too busy thinking about what they need to do when they get to their desk. Okay, because a gold or a green is not going to be too in tune to how was last night, give me a hug, did you have a good evening, but a blue and orange would. Okay, so you can go and give blue and oranges hugs all the time, but if you encounter a green or a gold, don't just go up and assume they want to be hugged because you feel they're spiritual, because if they're gold and green, that will repel them and they'll want to push you off, because they haven't opened up to you yet. That you have to get into the lower vibrations of them, which is where the blue and the orange are, which is holding them back to say, it's okay, you can hug me, it's all good. But if they're high in gold or green, again, you can't get too close too quickly, my friends, because it's kind of like the golds and the greens are the extroverted, and the blues and the oranges are the golds and the greens are the introverts, and the blues and the oranges are the extroverts. But again, we all have the colors within us. It's the soul print. And depending on who you're with will change the way your soul print is going to work. Okay, so I hope this is really making sense to all of you guys. So when we get back, I'm going to talk a little bit deeper about this, and I'm going to do the weekly reading for everyone who's listening into how to get through this week of light and dark. We'll be right back.
Bringing you the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio, your conscious lifestyle on steroids. Being a radio host on IOM-FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
Dr. Kevin here, and I want to invite you every Thursday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, to join me on the Dr. Kevin Show, where we have a diversity of guests who help you step outside the box, behind the curtain, and see what a load of crap is going on in the world today, so you have more information with which to make better decisions. We'll see you there. Namaste.
Hello, I'm John Lithgow. Manatees are unique, among the most amazing animals on Earth, but they're in danger. We pose the greatest threat to their survival. Many manatees are killed or injured by boats or other recreational activities. I'm a writer of children's books, including one about manatees, and I believe education is the key. You can be part of the solution. Please contact Save the Manatee Club right now. Call 1-800-432-JOIN. Thank you.
Welcome back to Vibe Nation Radio, where today I'm talking about balance your energies with insight. And this is the time of the show where I've tapped into energy tapped into spirit and getting the information for those that are listening in. So it will be talking about what we've been talking about here. Now, spirit is saying to me that a lot of people that are listening are still carrying around a lot of self-imposed fears, but a lot of the fears that they're carrying actually has to do with the fact that they're not going and announcing to the world who they truly are. Some of the fears that they have are actually their lower personality traits, and the reason why they're fearing it is because they don't understand that's not your strength, that's a weakness. So you fear it thinking that I'm not good enough, they're saying that. You might look at someone else and say, oh my gosh, look at them, they're doing this, and you're like, why can't I do this? Why can't I figure this out? Again, you are unique. No one on this planet has the same soul print than you. No one, not even your twin. Like, you guys can have the soul print together as one, but what you're dealing with and what they're dealing with are two completely different soul prints. So Spirit is saying, stop being so miserly with your vibrations and feel nobody gets me. No one understands me. Again, if you're listening to this, chances are you are blue-green. That's the bulk of the people that I deal with. And Spirit is saying by doing that, you're kind of being foolish. You know, you've been given a new plate to be able to move forward, to understand that right now, a lot of the masculine energy, they're saying that the masculine energy, when it comes to the orange, so the orange is the wild and crazy, woohoo, let's have a good time type of energy. And a lot of people aren't feeding the energy that way. They're feeding it in, oh my gosh, grumpy old bear, leave me alone, don't want to talk to you. You know, just, I don't want to do this. And you know what? I have an addiction, so just leave me alone. And then when I say addiction, it can be anything, my friends. It doesn't need to be sex, drugs, or alcohol. It can be anything. Okay? So Spirit is saying that the wild and embracing life for what it is, living in the moment, is where a lot of people who are listening right now need to focus. Because when it comes to the masculine, need to know why. Well, they're saying that people kind of have that in check. It's like the spiritual side. This is the blue side of the masculine saying, yes, I'm getting this, and I'm taking the spiritual energy and I'm shifting it over to the logical side. Okay, so I will post on the Embassy of Light on Facebook some scenarios of masculine and feminine energy so you guys can understand how the flips are taking place and how to take the feminine and turn it into masculine, and how to take masculine and turn it into feminine. So if you're being very spiritual instead of logical, you kind of have to balance them out. But if you're being too logical and you're not allowing your spiritual side to come in, then, again, you're going to be too 3D. So Spirit is basically saying, make the choice, my friends, this week, because the feminine energy is ready to come out. Another area where the masculine energy is not doing too well, and again, we've all got masculine energy. I'm not just talking about the masculine or the feminine twin here. I'm talking about the masculine energy within all of us that leave me alone, don't want to talk to you, very emotional inside. Again, it's kind of like the orange and the blue are kind of going against the flow instead of with the flow. So Spirit is saying, please, embrace who you are and know that the only person that can change you is you, that you cannot change your beloved. You can shift the vibrations and energy to help them start to shift themselves, but they have to deal with their own psyche. So if you have raised your vibrations and you're now vibing in 4D, 5D, and not 3D, what can take place is that when you go into a flip of energy and your beloved gets the energy back, what you've done is you've shifted the vibrations between the two of you so that his boys or her boys cannot get at them the way they used to, because you've shifted the vibrations. So they might not be able to go down to frustration the way they used to, because you've shifted the vibrations. So now they're just kind of like, oh, I'm not really frustrated. I'm not really sure what I'm feeling, but I'm feeling better than I was. And again, this is all energy work, my friends. You cannot jump into your beloved's head and change their psyche. They must do this themselves. And if you know you're dealing with a twin that is green, analytical, need to know why, You need to be patient because they got the gazillion-dollar brain that needs to be rewired. Because it's the way they see it. I have to see it to believe it. And now Spirit is saying, no, you have to believe it before you will see it. So we're basically going right back to kindergarten, my friends. And we've been talking about this in the Vibe Report for a long time. We're going back to school. We're going back before we started to get programmed the way we're supposed to think, because we have to shift the way we think to be able to move forward. And if you're very green, analytical, need to know why, you might not like oranges when they show up. You might think they're too flaky or that, they don't know what they're doing. Again, but that person is prejudging that person, not realizing that probably their orange is very low. So, of course, if a bright orange comes along, they're going to be like, oh, what's that? Ooh, get away from me. You're crazy. You're a chaos monkey. But in actual fact, you're beating yourself up and allowing your soul to go somewhere where it truly doesn't need to be. So if you don't understand the law of allowing, please look into it. This is huge with where we're going. When you understand the law of allowing, what I'm teaching and what I will teach in the 3-hour course, it's obviously a lot more in depth, gets a lot more deeper into things. Can't do this in 45 minutes for an hour. 45 minutes to an hour when it takes 3 hours to teach this. But I just want you guys to be on your way to realize it's so important to find out who you are. Find out who you are, the deep of your soul, and work on that. Because, again, if you're a twin, you need to understand that you need to balance the energies between the two of you. And if you're getting a flip of energy and you wake up with Mr. Control Monster or Mr. Frustration and you're kind of wigging out and you're like, whoa, who am I? Take a deep breath and say, you know what? The soul is saying it needs help. I need to help shift this around so that my twin can live in the moment and embrace the moment more than they can right now. Okay, so this is more of helping one another on the soul journey. This is not about coming into union and, living this fairy tale romance as so many people think. So many people need to realize we're here on a mission. Okay, yes, it would be nice to be with the beloved full time and be in fairy tale romance land. But again, if you look at the bigger picture, even if you come into reuniting, come into union, there is a bigger picture here. It's the mission. It's the mission of helping Gaia. So if right now one of the most difficult laws on this planet, universal laws to learn, is the law of allowing, because no one else wants to listen to what anybody else has to say. But again, everybody's changing everybody's perspectives. Why do you think that higher self or my spirit guides have told me, let's talk about this, because people need to get back? It's like we're on a record, guys. We're on a new record of life, and we've just started the new song, and so many of you have already lost the needle, and it's scratched off, and it's already scratching because you've brought the old in to the new already. We've only been in the new for 12 days? September 1st it's the new earth. We're here. But don't be so quick to want to get this all done, because you got to go back to school, and we got to rewire. And again, this is a process. It's not a race. So, if you are so, quick to say, I want to be with my beloved, I want to be with them right now, stop and take a deep breath and really think about, do you know who you are in the deepest of your soul? When you're standing naked in the shower, do you know exactly who you are? And are you going out there and showing the world who you are? Are you hiding parts of you because other people will not accept you for who you are? If that is the case, again, you need to step in your power and realize the only person that matters on this planet, my friends, is you. It starts with you. And when you turn around and you love yourself 100% for who you are, then it starts to be a ripple effect on everyone around, and allows everybody else to embrace the law of allowing, to realize that I can't change Carrie. Carrie is who she is. The only person that can change Carrie is Carrie. But when Carrie goes out into the world and she has her kaleidoscope, believe me, I don't allow people to come in with their kaleidoscopes to say, hey, blah, 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 and then all of a sudden my kaleidoscope changes. So by the time I get home, I'm not the woman I left when I walked out the door, because I've allowed everybody else's perspective to change my perspective. So when I get home, again, I got to start it back at the basics. This allows you to be able, when you're out there and somebody's saying something to you, to say, okay, you know what? They're speaking this language, and this is why this is pushing my buttons. But it could be that maybe why it's pushing your buttons, that Spirit is saying you need to balance this energy out, especially if you are a twin. Okay? Because, again, we want to clear the vessels, because the clearer the vessel, the more beautiful the union. You want to come into union and step into mission with your beloved and stay there. You don't want to go back and forth like so many people are, oh, we're together, now we're not. We're together, now we're not. Okay, that's the way it's supposed to be, but don't get your ducks out of a row, because all of a sudden you're off again instead of on again. This is a sign from higher self to say you still have work to do on the soul. work on the soul and watch what starts to take place. So I just feel like Spirit is saying this week we have the ability to be able to bring this balance in, because next week we're going into a great soul healing. I've got as of the 18th, it's like the universe is going to plug us in, and they're going to purify all of that we've been transmuting on a bigger scale for Gaia. You know, we're here to help clean up, so we call ourselves the cleanup crew, those that follow me, and we're like big giant vacuum cleaners. And I know that it's when the next week comes in, it's like Spirit's going to take our vacuum clean apart, and they're going to clear it out of all the stuff we've been transmuting for all of these people on Gaia. We're working with the collective as well, my friends. So this will allow you to see a little bit clearer, and this is going to allow you to let go of that no longer does you any purpose or any soul purpose right now. So just really embrace who you are. And if you want to know more information, again, I'm coming out with this after the retrograde. As we all know, we're in a Mercury retrograde, so these classes are not going to be coming out until next month. But I will be starting to put a lot of information up very soon about how this works and how you can come on and you can do a 3-hour course with me. And at the end, you actually will be licensed. I can give you a certificate stating that you actually took this course, and you can use this information, my friends, in all areas of your life. It will help you with friendships. It will help you with coworkers. It will allow you to understand maybe you're not loving your job. Well, you know what? If you're very high blue, green, and all of a sudden you're in you're in say you're in an orange job. Say you're in marketing, you got to talk to a lot of people, but you're green. You know, you're kind of in the wrong field, my friends, because greens are wild and crazy, social, let's go out and have a good time. And green's like, do I have to go to this? And if they do, they'll sneak in, show themselves, but not really say anything to anybody, and then they'll sneak back out. Where an orange will be there, make an announcement, and they'll probably be the last one there. Okay, so again, you need to start looking at this at a deeper way of who am I? And if it's all said and I'm figuring out, I want to do this, who are you? Can you actually pull off what you want to do with the strength of who you are? Or are you fooling yourself and instead, what are you doing? You're going to focus on your weaknesses instead of your strengths, and it's going to stress you out to no end. And at the end of the day, you're going to be like, why am I doing this? But you're doing it because it's kind of like, I have to do this. But if you don't understand why you're not being pulled or why you shouldn't be doing this, if you understand this, it would make sense to you. So, again, I know this is very different because I'm talking by myself and I'm completely in a complete state of higher self. I don't even feel like I'm in control here. But I think that overall, if you can understand who you are, so are you the loving, caring, sensual person? Are you the wild and crazy person? Are you analytical, need to know why? Or are you the type of person that needs to have money in the bank and you've got to be on time?